Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of me I am holding maybe one of the most iconic sci-fi weapons ever, though I know some people like to argue that Star Wars maybe doesn't count necessarily as sci-fi. This is certainly one of the most iconic laser guns ever, and you're not actually supposed to call this a laser gun, probably. This is a blaster pistol, a custom Lego design from the builder Marshall Banana, and it's not just any blaster pistol. This is Han Solo's DL-44 blaster. Like many of the shooters in Star Wars, their initial frames come from real-world firearms that are then modified with a few bits of otherworldly looking hardware that makes them feel unique or more space-like or more technical, while at the same time they still get to maintain a real-world, lived-in, and often kinda rugged feel. When the core of the shooter is in fact real, it simply registers as more dangerous to the audience on screen. Han's DL-44 blaster has the original body of a C96 broom-handle Mauser pistol, which was first developed around the turn of the last century. Now, I only bring this up because this model is so incredibly accurate that the details present in this Lego creation have some articulating features that match directly with the operations of the original Mauser. That's how accurate this creation is. So before I show you all the fun hidden little details on this custom design, let me first just say that you can buy the instructions to build this model at BrickVault.toys. With an instructions purchase comes a PDF guide for the model and a digital parts list for quickly ordering all the pieces you need online. We test our builds physically to ensure they are durable, and the instructions are also tested to make sure the building steps can be followed very clearly. Buying from us also supports the talented designers that we work with, like Marshall Banana, who is a powerhouse designer. He has left his mark on absolutely breathtaking designs over the years. Everything's linked at BrickVault.toys. Check out the description below. And now I'm going to go straight into the handling of this model. It is, of course, a display piece, very elegant looking. It's got a great looking stand for it to rest on, but this model from the very beginning of its inception was designed to be picked up and handled in a pretty casual manner. I've had this on my desk for maybe 3 weeks now, messing around with it, and the only place that I found where you're going to feel even a little twinge of play or bowing is right where the broom handle connects to the body. Now this makes sense because all the weight compounds here right at this particular connection, but I assure you it is super solid. The internal connection here consists of two different side-by-side Technic lift arms that are attached to an unbreakable block of bricks on the inside, and mind you, they're attached at two separate angles in two separate places, so the stress is extremely well distributed. Nothing moves out of alignment or needs readjusting when you pick this thing up and swing it around, of which you can flip this around pretty casually in your hand in just about any manner. It's both heavy as a Lego build and strong, with a big Technic axle that runs through the whole barrel assembly, so you're not going to have any bowing. It's a really fun model to handle, and on that note, don't let me forget to show you that the trigger can have a black Lego rubber band wrapped around the base, and this makes it pop back into place when you depress the trigger. It doesn't click or anything like that, but it's still a fun little feature. And while I'm talking about fun features, this is why I mentioned that this is based on a C96 Mauser earlier. The model has a safety lever with some play here right in the back. This moves similarly to the actual safety from the pistol over 100 years ago. And just in front of there, we have a big hammer that can come back in a similar manner. These, I believe, are static or not really moving in the Star Wars universe like for the DL-44, but they're real articulating features on the original firearm, which was used to actually make the original prop. So these probably did move maybe in the original prop, I think, for the DL-44. Now, I love that these features exist on this Lego model. It's just a fun bit of extra realism, but if I had to choose a particular favorite extra, somewhat realistic feature, it is the leaf sight that can be adjustable here at the top. Depending on the shooting distance, this rear sight could be elevated on the original pistol, and a nod to that function exists on the model. Well, it can be lifted and brought down. The boxy indentations on the bullion pieces here are meant to hint at the engraved distance markers, and when you're lifting it up and down, there's even a somewhat natural stopping point here that's slightly elevated, that's where the edge of the plate touches a tile. And then if you want to get it all the way back down, you can tap it back into place. It gives you a little bit of a tap or a click when you put it down, and it's just a fun tactile feature, and certainly one of my favorite things to fiddle around with on the model. Don't let me forget that you can twist around the little adjustment knob on the top of the scope, and I suppose there is actually one more interactive, or maybe even what you could call a transform feature to the model. Don't get too excited when I say transform, but the DL-44 blaster has this scope attached to this side mount. It's a plate that actually goes into the side of the pistol, and this is a modification to the original Mauser that can actually be easily removed here for the Lego build. Once it's off, you can see what the Mauser looks like in its somewhat unmodified form, and the axle attachment points for this side mounted plate are so cleanly integrated into the build that it looks like this pistol could have been designed pretty close to maybe just the actual standard look of the original pistol, and then the scope attached as an afterthought. That's not the case. It's just an incredibly well thought out attachment point for the side pieces, and it's really cool that something like that actually exists on this build. But let me get you some fun extra little accurate details rapid fire for you. These little indentations on the upper frame made with jumper pieces are absolutely excellent. There's even a solid connection right here in the middle of the indent, which is accurate. I like that the detailing for the back of the bolt can be seen. This is a grip point for pulling the bolt back. These little brackets make up some kind of accurate detail. I don't know their function, but it's part of the original Mauser design. The spacing for the grip details look excellent along the broom handle itself, and this is just a really iconic and really well-defined feature on the build. There are some Lord of the Rings here as the escutcheon rings that go through the center of the handle grip points, and even at the very bottom you can see an attachment for the lanyard ring right at the base of the handle. And frankly, every detail that you see along this pistol is modeled intentionally so the DL-44 is as accurate as possible, except this one piece here, which I think you're actually going to like. There is one tiny intentional round tile at the bottom by the trigger guard, and that's added so when you set the piece down on the display stand, this tile acts as a natural stopping point for where the model is supposed to rest. This means you're not sliding the model around guessing where it's supposed to stay on the display. It also makes it a little bit more sturdy when you're moving it around. So there you have it. This is the custom DL-44 blaster by the designer Marshall Banana. Everything about this design just feels incredibly intentional. The frame is directly designed to be handled, and it fits incredibly well into the display stand. There's all kinds of fun, accurate details. This has been a really fun thing to mess around with on my desk for the last several weeks, and I probably will keep it there for at least a while. So anyways, if you did want to build this for yourself, the instructions can be found at BrickVault.toys. Everything's linked in the description below. If you enjoy our content, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, or share, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.